Hey, this is Ben, and welcome to the demo of OnCall Air. So today we're going to talk about a little bit about the background of what OnCall Air does for an HVAC contractor. Then we'll go through a demo. In the demo, we'll show some examples of proposals built with OnCall Air. We'll show you how to build it, and we'll talk a little bit about behind the scenes, some of the tools to administer the system. And then finally, we'll talk about the onboarding process, the customer support that comes with the software, and a little bit about the pricing and information about how to take the next step if you're interested in signing up and getting started. So let's dive into this. So about OnCall Air. OnCall Air is software specifically for HVAC contractors and more specifically for the sales process. So everything that has to do with building a quote, presenting the quote to the homeowner, whether you're in the home or you are remote and emailing the link to the quote, tracking that quote, getting the right information out of the quote once you win the job. That's really what OnCall Air is focused on, all of that, everything that has to do with the sales process. We talk about the three goals that we have for a contractor with the software, and I'll go through those now. The first goal is to help you drive more value out of every opportunity. So when you're quoting a customer that replacement system for their home, it's a great opportunity to add more value. And you can do that with OnCall Air by showing multiple different types of options to the customers, perhaps a higher efficiency system, a quieter system, a good, better, best model. You can show the customer optional services that you provide, optional add-ons like IAQ or smart thermostats. You can show the customer financing to show them affordability. So all of this adds up to the opportunity to drive more value. And ultimately, you can drive higher customer satisfaction because the customer is going to see a much more thorough, visual, modern presentation of your brand and services. So that's number one, driving more value. The second thing is help you stand out from the competition. So really give the tool where your customer is going to say, wow, I wasn't expecting that from my HVAC contractor. And the idea is that you can present a very modern Amazon-like type of quote to your customer that shows off not just the products, but the services, your brand, your unique company statement, all of that inside of an easy-to-view, thorough, and modern digital proposal that your customer can view on your device, on your Chromebook or your laptop or your iPad, for instance, at the kitchen table. Or if they're looking at this from their home on their phone, at 8 p.m. on a Sunday night with their spouse, you're still showing all the thorough and modern information about your company so the customer can make a decision and sign right from their phone or on your device. And then the last thing that we're focused on is saving you time. So this might be saving time on presentation of the quote, building the presentation, saving you time in tracking all of your quotes for your team, or for automatically following up on the quote and sending automated reminders to the customer, and then ultimately getting the right information from that job so that you can successfully do the installation. So again, just to recap real quick, the first thing is helping you drive more value out of each opportunity. The second thing is to really help you close the sale and stand out from the competition. And then the third thing is to help you save a lot of time in your sales process. I mentioned that we're built for HVAC, so there's a lot of features you'll see in the demo coming up that are very specific to an HVAC quote. One of the key features here is our partnership with Gemaire. So our Gemaire Connector will allow us to bring back any product that you source via Gemaire, so whether it's maybe it's a Rheem condensing unit or a thermostat, all of that gets synced up automatically. The product information every night gets refreshed. Your AHRI matchups get automatically synced up. Your cost with Gemaire and your availability of that product at your nearby warehouse, all of that is automatically refreshed. So I'll show you examples, but that's one of the big and very kind of unique capabilities that OnCall Air has through our connector partnerships. And then the last thing about OnCall Air is really the most important thing. We are a very customer-driven business, so we have an onboarding process where we have a success team that works with our customers from day one to onboard them, train them, get them comfortable with the system, and get them productive. So it's very much a human-powered kind of business where we provide the software, but we also have people here who have a lot of experience helping other contractors around the country make great use of the platform. We have customers that are very large HVAC companies with a number of salespeople or techs that are quoting jobs. We also have small owner-operator businesses, entrepreneur that wears a lot of hats in the business, and everything in between. And we're constantly communicating and interacting with our customers. All of that helps us make the product better and helps us add the right features that keep the product simple but also powerful for the needs of a diverse set of HVAC contractors. Okay, so that's the intro to OnCall Air, what it's all about. We're going to shift gears here now, and I'm going to dive into a demo, and I'm going to be emphasizing some of the unique capabilities that we have with in our partnership with Gemaire. So throughout this demo, I'm going to be using a fictitious HVAC dealer contractor called Air Warrior. So this is, imagine if you're an HVAC company, this would be your brand and your logo at the top. And in this particular example, I'm actually going to start at the end of the demo. I'm going to show an example of a quote that I built for this customer, Jeremy. I'm playing the role of the comfort consultant or the tech. I've already built a quote for him, and I'm going to walk through what this quote looks like. So in this particular case, I would start with a brief introduction to the company. So this is all customizable, and it's a great way to feature, particular particular awards or recognitions that you have, a little bit of a brief intro to your company. And then in this example, I'm going to start with one of the options that I presented for this, that I prepared for this customer. So at the very top, I can have a brief introduction to this particular option. We always recommend this as a best practice. If you're quoting a job and it's $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 job, it's worth taking 30 seconds to write a personal note, because that customer might be looking at this quote from their phone 2 weeks later and not remember a lot of the details. So by introducing that particular option, you can establish more of a personal connection with the customer. In this particular example, I've included a Rheem, variable speed prestige unit here. So I can click on this, or my customer can click on this, and they can see more about this particular product, including videos. So in this particular case, for this prestige, we have a great video published by Rheem that talks about the advantages of variable speed. So the customer can look at this video right inside of the proposal. It looks great on an iPad, it looks great on the desktop, and it looks great on the phone. All of this content comes back automatically and is refreshed automatically through our partnership with Gemaire. So that's a really powerful and unique feature. Beyond the equipment in this case, there's many ways that you can customize the quote with information that's relevant to that job or to what that customer wants or to services that your company offers. So in this case, I've included for example, a water heater as part of the quote. I've included a thermostat. Again, you can click on it, see more. There's a nice video about this particular thermostat. In some cases, we have contractors who offer additional services. In this example, maybe I'm offering a smoke alarm upgrade service. So I've quoted 4 as part of this proposal. And this is an example of product I've just uploaded into the system. I uploaded the picture and I uploaded the description. So it makes it easy to customize quotes with services that are unique to your company. And just as importantly, it allows your quote to really show off a lot of the capability, a lot of what the homeowner is going to get with your services. Another example here is a service plan. So you can load things like this, service plans, customize it. We even create a badge for you for your service plan if you don't have one, so it looks good when you're presenting it. You can include just information about your company. So maybe you have a follow-on service. You're going to quote a free estimate for a particular type of service. Maybe you have some awards you want to mention and have the customer see, or even the picture of the team so that they can see who the company is. Further, you can customize the work that's going to go into the job. So this could be standard checklist items that you already probably have that can be populated automatically. It's a great opportunity to include your brand throughout. You can customize all of these. These are just examples. You can add items that are unique to this job. Maybe you have, you're doing custom work. Each of these items can carry a price influence. They can either increase the price, decrease it, or they can just be informational and there's no price impact. In this particular quote, as I scroll down, you'll notice that one of the very unique capabilities of OnCall Air is the ability to create more complex quotes. So in this example, I actually have a downstairs system as well. So all in one quote, right? And then we have different equipment for that downstairs system. I could customize the products that go with it. I could customize that work that goes with it. So it becomes relatively easy to build much more complex quotes with multiple systems, different types of systems, different capacities. It's not a cookie cutter, good, better, best type of system. It's much more sophisticated than that. You can also recommend products. So perhaps you want to recommend, you had a conversation with this customer about air quality. They were not sure about it, but you want to make sure that they know that you have those options. Again, to the point of driving more value in the opportunity. So I'm going to recommend a few options here. I have a generator, I have a service plan. These can be products I've uploaded. It can be products I'm pulling in automatically from my Gemaire connector. And if I click on it, right, so in this case I could see the more information about this this REMI UV light. I could click on it, watch a video as well, and if I'm with the customer, we can select this together. The system has a pricing engine that will recalculate pricing automatically to show this product. If you have financing, the financing monthly will also calculate automatically, so I can have a discussion with a customer as to what the impact would be if they're going to choose a financing option. And if the customer's on their phone, they can also do this themselves and add it and accept the quote. We have a pricing engine that calculates pricing for the contractor. Basically takes your target gross margin and will make sure that the retail price meets your profit requirements. And it's a very flexible pricing formula, but basically it helps you save a lot of time in pricing because all of the formula is built into the system. And of course, the whole point of this system is that you can review the terms of service. This can all be your terms of service. These are just examples. You can have multiple terms of service if you want, and then the goal is your customer is ready and they can sign on your device. They can sign from their phone, from really wherever they are. So that's an example of a quote. In this particular case, this quote was part of an option. So actually, if I go back here, you'll notice that I actually had 4 different options. And these first 3 options, each of these options had 2 systems. So this fantastic option has an upstairs, downstairs. The best option also has an upstairs, downstairs, different tier, different efficiency. So it's very easy to create more complex options for your customers. And in this case, you'll notice that I'm leading in with financing for some of these options. In this case, I'm not showing financing, so you can choose different financing tiers for each option. You can choose to not offer financing and just calculate the amount. So again, we've built a lot of flexibility to let you sell and quote jobs the way that your company wants to, and the way that your customer is requesting. And of course, if you're in front of the customer, you can walk through this with them on a tablet perhaps. It could be an iPad, it could be a Chromebook, it could be a laptop. If you email it to the customer, they can also open it, and it works great on a mobile device. So customers can open it from any smartphone, look at all this information, it sizes appropriately, it's still interactive, and they can sign it right from their smartphone. So it's very common that maybe a sale starts with a kitchen table presentation and then ends with a close by the customer on their phone on their own. So what I want to go now is I want to switch gears here and go through this particular proposal and show you some of the behind-the-scenes capability and how you would build a quote like this. So in this case, we're looking at this quote right here, right? So this is my view of all my opportunities for this particular contractor. If I'm an admin, I can see everybody's quotes. If I'm a consultant, I see only those that are assigned to me or that I created. This particular quote, I can drill further into it. I can take a look and see behind the scenes what's happening. So this feature allows me to see a timeline of everything that's happened on the quote. This is also a very unique and powerful feature inside of OnCall Air. For instance, I can see when I created a quote, when I first presented it, when I emailed it, and it tells me that the customer viewed the quote, so I don't have to wonder if it was stuck in spam. It tells me what option the customer viewed. So if I sent multiple options to the customer, maybe a good, better, best, I can see is the customer viewing good, better, and it tells me over time what options are most popular. It tells me if my customer is engaged or not, so it can be very useful. And every time the customer views it, you'll see that here. So it helps you also understand at what time of the day people are engaged with your quotes. If I make a change to a quote, I can make a change to an existing proposal that I presented to a customer in 30 seconds. Add something, change something, and then represent it. The original quote I sent the customer will update automatically. There's no chance that they're looking at an older price or older quote. We keep a history, so you can always go back in time and see historically. For instance, in this case, I have 4 options on this quote, but the first time I presented it, I only had 3 options. So I can go back and see, oh, what were those 3 options and what was my price the first time I presented it. And over time, as quotes evolve, we keep a history of all of that. If the system sent the automatic follow-up, which you can set up and have it automatically send out a reminder to your customers on a schedule, you'll see that happen here, and you'll see that all logged as well. Additionally, if you want to take a look behind the scenes at a quote and see what's happening, or maybe the job was sold and won and you need to get the information out of it, we have a tool called the inspector, which pulls out all the details of a quote all into one sheet that can be easily printed for your team. If it's accounting, perhaps they can look at this with all the pricing and cost information so that they could later do some job costing, or get it, or take the right information to put it into their accounting platform. If it's a tech, perhaps you can remove pricing. We have a version of this that's just that doesn't show any cost or pricing. It's basically an operational sheet, shows customer information, the equipment that was included in that bundle, AHRI rating information, all automatic, the accessories, services that were included in the quote, any job items. The whole idea here is that it gives you the tools to know exactly what went into the quote. There's no longer any confusion between what the customer saw, what the salesperson quoted, what the office thinks was quoted, and what the installer is installing. It's everybody's on the same page because they're all looking at the same set of details. You can even take notes when you're quoting the job. We call this the survey. You can take notes about the customer, the requirements, about the premises, perhaps. So if you want to take a notes about, or you can even answer. You can take notes or upload photos. And this is all very customizable to have the information you need about that customer, about the premises, to also make it easier and facilitate the installation itself. So that's the inspector. Now, what I want to do is actually put this quote back into edit mode so I can show you some of the features that the system has for building a quote. So I'm going to put this in edit, and I'll show you the steps that we go through to build a set of proposal options. Basically, when you're building a quote for a customer, it walks you through from left to right in the process of building. So the customer information, you start by entering basic customer information. And you can take some notes on the customer, and then you can move forward. And you can always move backwards and forwards. So if you have to make changes to the quote, you can go back and change the quote. The survey is where you can take notes about what the current system is that you're replacing. You can take notes about the customer. So these are just examples. You can have whatever questions you want if you want to use this. You could have questions about allergies or about noise levels of your existing system. You could have questions about the premises. So if you're at the site and you want to take notes about the system that you're replacing, you could take some notes, upload photos. And what's really useful about this is that your customer maybe is not ready, and maybe they disappear and they come back in 2 months and they say, okay, I'm ready to go forward. All you have to do if you're using this feature, you can log into OnCall Air, search the customer, and all the information you had about them is here, readily available. You don't have to search through emails or try to remember the discussion you had with your customer. I'll skip forward here. Really, this is one of the core screens of the system. I'm going to remove something here real quick so I can show you exactly how this works. Keep in mind, this is a quote I had already started, right? So it's already kind of partially built. Now, what this screen does, this third tab that you see here, we started with customer survey, now we're equipment. What this does allows me to select the combinations that I want to offer this customer and drag them into the different slots. So I have my fantastic, best, better, good. And in this case, I'm talking about a heat pump at a 2-ton. So what I can do is say, this slot is empty. So I could offer a 4th option. System is very flexible, by the way. You could offer 2 options side by side. You could offer 1. Or up to 4 side by side. So let's say I want to offer this system as a good option. I literally just take this and I drag it in there. But what's happening here, right? So this option is a matchup. You'll see that it's AHRI matched. We license the AHRI database and we refresh AHRI constantly to make sure that we have the latest and greatest matches. In this case, we have the condenser and the air handler here. I'm showing the availability of this product at your nearby Gemaire warehouse. That's one of the powerful features of our Gemaire Connector. We can pull back your availability every morning and show you what the stock levels look like at the warehouse that you buy from. I can also click on these products, and as I'm building a quote, I have the specs and information about the product to make sure I have the right details. This can be very useful if it's a new product that's in your inventory, or maybe it's a new person that's using the system and they're getting familiar with the products. As they're building quotes, whether it's on their iPad or tablet or in the office, they can use this and have at their fingertips all the details about the product automatically. And these are refreshed. All that product information is refreshed nightly. Now, I dragged an option here. You can customize very easily. Maybe you decide that this is not the right air handler. I can click here, and on the fly, I can make changes and pick maybe here's the air handler I have selected and the HRI match. I could look here and perhaps say, let's take a look at this particular set of options. So I can see that here are other matching options, availability. I would see the HRI rating on that as well. So in this case, for instance, I can see that this is going to give me a 14 SEER rating and there's 99 available with that particular condensing unit. So I could select it and customize it. Very flexible in that sense. And if you're building a multi-system combination, you can just simply switch to a different set of options. Let's look at our 3-ton combinations, and maybe I want to add this as well as a second option, right? So now I have 4 options side by side. Each of those has 2 systems in it. The base price here is calculated automatically based on your cost. So again, we pull in your cost every night, and we'll calculate the price based on your gross margin. So you can set up a formula. If you're an admin user, you can always click on this. It shows you the formula. So you'll notice in this case, I have a 30% gross margin. I have some base labor and material cost. This is showing me how the formula works, so I can always verify and see exactly how the system came up to that price. That's only visible if you're an admin user. If you're a consultant or a tech using this and you don't have admin rights, you only see retail level pricing. You don't see the cost. You can't click on this and see the cost and profit. You can also have different pricing profiles. So if I wanted to have in the off season, I have a winter profile. Perhaps I'm in the south and I want to be a little more aggressive. I could also switch a profile. If I go back to this one, you'll notice the price changed, and now I'm at a 45% gross margin. So you can have a couple different profiles in there just to make the system more flexible and make sure you're going to quote the right price on the job. The accessories is where you can customize what you're going to include. So you can manage a list of your accessories. Again, if they're coming from Gemaire, you can see the availability of the accessory here. You can click on the details, see the specs on the product, and it's very easy to attach it to an option. So at the top, you'll notice that we have kind of our cheat sheet of different options that we're quoting this specific job. So we have 4 options side by side, and you'll notice that here, this column corresponds to this system. So I have 1 of these thermostats on the first system, and I have 2 on the downstairs system. Once you get used to this pattern, it's very easy to customize a quote. And this list of thermostats that you're seeing here is customizable for a dealer contractor. So you can set up this to be whatever you want. And you can upload your own product. So if it's a product you're not sourcing via Gemaire, it's not a problem. We have a custom module where you can upload equipment and accessories and have them appear side by side as well. So again, it's just, you're just clicking here to customize each quote. If you want to recommend products, so for instance, maybe this customer said, they were interested in air quality, but they're on the fence, then what you do is you click on the recommend. And what recommend does is it'll include it as a product recommendation. And you can recommend different products on different options. So maybe in one case you have a AC furnace and coil as one option. It might make sense to recommend a particular product, and maybe in the other case you're only recommending a furnace, or you're including a furnace. You don't want to recommend a particular product in that case. You have a lot of control here over where you make your recommendations. If I skip forward here, you can have different types of accessories for, in that example I gave earlier, maybe a smoke alarm, I can include those. It's pretty easy to customize this and kind of go up and down, or you can just write in your amount here. And then the system will take this and add this amount times the number of items into the quote. So it's very easy to customize a quote. You could also use this to customize unique services that you offer, maybe extended warranties, maybe service plans. In this case, I made up an energy audit. So You can upload something like this, a picture and a description. So if you have an additional service you offer to the customer, you can recommend it to the customer or include it in the quote. This is great for service plans, things like that. Even if it's included, there's not an additional cost on it. You can have a zero cost item. It just becomes informational. Some people will go as far as including maybe a picture of the team member, a little bit of a description of their profile, so that it still is a very personal type of sale when it's presented to the customer. It's also work items, right? With HVAC, there's a lot of work that you might end up having to do on the job. Maybe you have to do some duct work. So you can, it's very similar to accessories. You can customize the work you're going to do. Perhaps, in this example, I have to replace the concrete pad for one of the systems. Every time I click on this, it's adding to each of the options, and it's going to add this amount. You can also have included items here. So these are automatically checked off. Your team doesn't have to remember to check these off. And in this case, it has zero amount. It's just being used for information. So the homeowner sees this particular information, and they see exactly what's going into this job. Great opportunity to be very clear with the customer, express your brand, and all of that information into the quote. And if you have custom work, you can even use this to create custom jobs. Maybe you have to subcontract licensed electrician for upgrade, right? And in this case, you can even just price it out on the fly and then add it into the job as well. So very flexible. All these items, as an admin, you can maintain these and price them. And you can also create custom items on the fly. And then in this example, what I'm going to do is add, and basically this is the last step before I present a quote. So I can go here, review items, make sure I've included everything. I can add discounts. I can add multiple discounts and rebates for each option. I can add different financing options. So if I don't want to include financing, I don't have to. Right, the system will just calculate the monthly. We'll remove the monthly. I could tier this out. So maybe on this one I have 60 months. I could include markups associated with each of the financing options, and we work with any number of banks. It's basically you can just upload whatever loan products you want to. You can also our system will calculate your retail selling price, but there might be situations where, as an admin or a manager, you may want to override a price and just set it to a specific price point. So you could do that here by clicking Adjust Price. The system will let you override the price. It'll show you the original amounts, and it'll show you the adjusted amounts, so you can have a good sense of what that's going to do to your ultimate price. You can put a note. Perhaps it's a manager override. There's a special reason to do it. So the point here is that it still gives you a lot of flexibility. This screen is also a great place to collaborate. So you might, maybe your tech is in the field building a quote, and they call you, or they call the sales manager and say, do you mind taking a look at this quote? From wherever you are, you can log in and see exactly what they're going to quote right before they quote it. So it enables collaboration back and forth. If I click on Present here, then I am now presenting the quote, and I can start walking the customer through this option, click into the details, and they can see everything that I just quoted. So in a few minutes, you can create a pretty powerful quote. I can email it to the customer. I could email the single option. I could email multiple options to the customer. And then, the idea is that the system gives you the tools to track it and get to that close and win that job. So the last part of the demo here, what I'll show is the office. This is the admin system that lets you manage the settings in the system. You have a dashboard, so you can track your sales, you can track how your team is doing, and what their close rates are. We have a lot of features here that let you customize the system. For instance, if you want to set up your pricing formulas, you can set those here. Before I go into that, I'll just point out this button right here. This is really the most important button in the system. It's available for you, for your team, and basically allows you to contact our customer success team. So you can write them a message. Our users contact us all the time. They might have a question about how to do something, or they just want to share an idea. We really do encourage this, and especially when you're getting comfortable with the system, it's a great way to ask a question about how does, we do have help documentation and videos, but if you get stuck, just ask us, and the team is here to help. In terms of pricing features, many different ways you can set up pricing. Basically, You set up a base labor and material cost for the different types of jobs. You can set up a margin target. It can be a percentage target. It can be a dollar target. It can be a combination of both. Once you've set that up, then the system takes care of pulling in your costs and automatically calculating the right selling price. Many different ways that you can update pricing or have more control over the pricing engine. You can have different markup scales for accessories or for the installation items that you work on. And and again, there's a lot of features, but we have a team and we have help, documentation to guide you through this. You can track one of the big, powerful features about our partnership with Gemaire is that we can pull in, and we do pull in every night, all your price points on all your equipment and matchups. So you can use this screen to almost view like a live dynamic price book with all the HRI matchups for different types of systems. You can see it all on one page. All your costs, which are refreshed every night, are here. So you can use this to kind of manage your favorite combinations of systems. You can manage up to 6 favorite combinations, and basically what this allows you to do is keep the 6 most common combinations front and center for your team. But of course, these are just the favorites. They can customize and pick whatever they want as they're building a quote. You can track manage your accessories. If you're adding an accessory that's coming from our Gemaire connection, you can add it here. It's live. This will pull it from Gemaire. It custom means that you're going to upload it, and we have a way for you to upload the picture and the description. There's all sorts of other features here, like for instance, if you want to set up email auto follow-ups as an example. So I might want to set up automatic follow-ups. You activate this, and in this example, the customer is going to get an email if they haven't accepted the quote 2 days after. It's a friendly reminder email saying, checking in on it. And that's really powerful. You can see that it does wake up the customer in a sense to, look at the quote again and check it out. It can be a helpful tool in your sales process, particularly when you're very busy. You send a quote, and it's not uncommon to forget to follow up with that customer. So now at least you have the comfort of a system that's following up directly with that customer on your behalf, basically. So again, that's the office side of this, is kind of the admin system. And ultimately, that's we kind of went through what a proposal looks like. What are some of the ways that you can build a quote if you're a salesperson or a technician or an office manager building quotes, how you can track quotes. And then at the end, we went through the office to show you kind of behind the scenes how you can administer and set up the system. The last thing I'll mention is if you go to OnCallAir.com, there's a lot of resources, information, examples from how customers use the product. We encourage you to click around, take a look, and learn more about it. If you want to, and if you interested in signing up, even though you've just watched this demo, what we recommend is to book a demo. We can do a quick 5-minute version of this if you've already gone through this. We'll talk a little bit about our fees, pricing model, any promotions that we have. So it's really important that you go through that, and we want to make sure that we're connecting you to the right Gemaire connector as well. So again, to sign up, book a demo, schedule a demo with our team. We can do it quickly. We want to make sure we understand exactly your business as well. We'll send you a link to get enrolled. The pricing is also on this page, so we're very transparent about how our pricing works. I'll call out a few things about the pricing. I'm recording this on a certain date, so I don't want to dive too much into the details, because oftentimes we'll be running promotions about onboarding. But what I do want to call out here is that it is a monthly subscription software service. And one of the key things about that is that the monthly rate adjusts automatically to different tiers based on how much you use the software. We built it that way because we know the seasonality in the business requires or may require different adjustments to your price. We don't have any limits on users, so it's very flexible on that. We don't license per user. We basically charge based on the usage. There is no annual contract. It's a month-to-month product, and all our tiers, you have access to our customer success team, whether you're a one-person company or 100-person company. Our customer success team is here to help. We do have an onboarding process, and we typically have good promotions on the onboarding setup. It's the list price is $3.99. It's quite often, especially through our partnership with Gemaire, that we'll have half off on the onboarding. when we usually have promotions to help you, test out the system before the monthly fees kick in. But one of the key things about the onboarding is that you'll have a guided kind of orientation and walkthrough with one of our customer success specialists to make sure that you're comfortable with the system, understand all the features and functionality. And I'll leave it at that. So again, oncallair.com if you are interested in moving forward and want to get set up, or if you want to just do a demo. The next step is just to book a demo, and that might be a 5-minute call, and we'll just make sure that we're on the same page and get some information from you to get you started. Or we can do a much deeper dive and show you more of the capabilities that maybe you didn't see in this demo. So thank you for your time. And this is Ben with OnCall Air, and that's it. Thanks.